hello and welcome. Welcome to Spirituality for All. I am Maria, and I am so excited.
Executive coach. So I coach people in their professions, mostly for leadership development purposes. But what that normally bleeds into is just helping them be more effective human beings, lead more effective lives. People's the human nature just creeps in. So it's not like I'm dealing with just the executive or just the professional person. I'm dealing with all of the things that comes into play in someone's life that causes stressors. And naturally, mindfulness is something that I deal with a lot because only through mindfulness and through spirituality and meditation practices and taking care of oneself can you really be a more effective person.
That's so true. That's true in parenting, in any relationship. If you're happy yourself, you're more productive. So obviously, in a profession, in a career path, you want to really hone in on what you're doing there,
Yeah.
why you're doing it,
Yeah.
and being happy in
Right. And I find that people in their different life stages go through periods where they're really happy in their careers and then they sort of get sick of what they're doing, or they have very common stories. They have the bad boss, or they work with colleagues that they don't necessarily love anymore, and they're looking for a shift. And what that requires of us as human beings is to do a little bit of soul searching and complex problem solving. Because once you're planted with your house and your kids, sometimes
You get
things
kinda
get
stuck.
yeah, things get a little complex.
Financially too.
Yeah,
You get a certain
financially,
level, and
yeah.
it's scary to change.
Right, it is, because oftentimes you do have to take
Yeah.
a step back or go back to school or pursue whatever you want
Uh-huh.
to pursue. And I have been doing a lot of my work lately has focused a lot on how the brain works, the nervous system, and what's really required in order to solve those problems from a neurological perspective. And it really is
Wow.
about getting quiet and using mindfulness as a tool in order to have the creativity to solve those kind of problems and make those decisions. It's
And
really
there's
amazing.
it's science backed.
It's science backed. It is
Wow.
science backed. Everything I do, because of the population.
You're a
that- my-
scientific minded person.
Yeah, and you
too.
don't have to. You
Is-
can't waltz into a corporation, work with an SVP, and roll out your yoga mat and bring your
and say, "Oh, we're just gonna,
right.
yeah."
Even though that's part of the
They'll
package.
be like, "Oh, where's the bottom line?"
Right, where's
Yeah.
the bottom line? And so there's it's interesting how when you're yourself and you have this package deal, but when you walk into different environments, you have to channel and access different parts of yourself based on what's appropriate for that context. And maybe that's a topic for another time, but what I'm saying is once you get in and you build trust with a client, you get a read of what they're capable of being able to hear and what they're capable of practicing.
Okay.
So if I have clients that are ready and willing, and I know that we've spoken about this before on another one of your podcasts, is that when you have people that are ready and willing and that see the benefit of mindfulness, and can bring that into the working world,
Yes.
the benefits they don't end.
Yes, yes. Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. Well, what would you say, like some people who are stuck in a job that they're not happy at,
Yeah.
sometimes do you find that you can get to a certain place within yourself that you could still even stay at that job, but shift your own perspective? It
Right.
doesn't mean you need to make that big, scary change
Right.
in your lifestyle and your life. It could just be internal as
Right.
well, right?
Right. Yeah. So there's a couple of
Okay.
different things. There's one client that came to mind, very near and dear to my heart, who, when I was working with him, I felt as if I was prying two elevator doors open. So sometimes when people are more on the intuitive side, you get these sort of pictures that come up in your mind, or you get sort of these.
And he was the
does this-
elevator.
what does this feel like for me? And
Yeah.
I felt like every time I spoke to him, it was sort of these elevator doors that were just shutting. And I was the person that was trying to let some light into the situation because
Yeah.
there wasn't any light coming in, right? So in those situations, getting quiet and providing tools and techniques for mindfulness, really exploring and compartmentalizing what is it about the situation that you don't like, and helping people. Journaling is a great tool that I use with people, and oftentimes with the corporate set especially, I get the eye roll, like, I have time to journal. Well, you do. 10 minutes before you go to bed, engage in some deep breathing, ask yourself some questions.
I love that, the corporate eye roll.
The corporate eye roll. Oh, yeah, right. Right, but when people spend so much time, my grandmother used to say, you need to love what you do, because 80% of your life is spent at work.
Right.
And it's so true. And think about how that molds someone.
Yes.
So by compartmentalizing it and asking yourself some guiding questions and using a tool like a journal, what is it that I really dislike so much about it? And compartmentalize those things, because what people don't realize is they let those clouds, those gray clouds of their work life, kind of seep into other areas of their life. And where can we sort of build out, well, okay, so we hate administrative work. Guess what? I hate administrative work, but I have to bill my clients in order to get paid. So, you know,
you have to do it.
You have to do it. And so maybe one of the things that you can do is compartmentalize those things out. And just like tax season, which is a perfect time right now, like, no one loves who loves tax season? Maybe an accountant, right? I don't know, but realize that it has to be done, and maybe that it's just that portion of your life, and that it's
true.
Temporary.
You could let it go faster if you acknowledge it.
I don't
like to do this, but I need to do this, and then it's done.
The other technique, which is backed by neuroscience and studies, is that if you label something with a non-judgmental label, just a neutral label, it takes the bite and the negative energy and the negative thinking out of something. So for example, if someone doesn't like a person that they have to work with, and they say they have 4 or 5 meetings a week,
they might be calling them other things.
Right. They might be saying, oh, I have to go to work with that. And what it does is it works you up. Now, the thing to remember is that person isn't suffering because you're having inner turmoil. You are suffering.
Right, you're doing it to yourself.
You're doing it to yourself. So meditative practices, tools like labeling, being able to say something such as passive-aggressive, so that you're just labeling the behavior that you don't like.
And not the person.
And you're not calling him or her nasty names, because that actually has an effect on our energy.
That's interesting, because I think with parenting I find that too for my kids. You know, maybe they're behaving selfishly one moment, but I don't want to say you are a selfish person, because that's like forever. That's a stamp on them, and it's more fluid. And so in the business environment, you can do the same thing. You know, that person is afraid, or whatever. You can identify what's going on, or you know, they're intimidated by me, so I need to stay away from them, because
intimidation.
And you know, and that's where compassion comes in for other people.
Thank you for pointing that out. That is such a perfect thing. Another if you're not in the corporate world, maybe a way that you can relate to this, and I think it's something that's commonly used in the world of mindfulness and the work that we do, is when you're driving, and Lord knows if you live in the LA area, you know, 405 traffic, they're cutting me off. Don't they know how to merge? They don't know how to merge. When you realize, and there was actually a study, a neurological study done, that we are very poor judgers of people's intentions. And they did a study of, no, that person isn't trying to ruin your day, but you know what? Who ends up ruining your day? You.
Because we have all these filters on any behavior outside of us. It comes through all our own stuff,
and we can't control what comes up, and sometimes we can't even control that initial response, because we're so conditioned to getting upset and angry and having a negative response. But what we can do is turn it quickly.
Perfect.
Take a deep breath in. You know what? Maybe they have to go pick up their kid. Maybe they're you know, they lock themselves out. You know, maybe there's a reason, and their head isn't clear, and maybe they just didn't see us.
Beautiful.
So that's where that compassion comes in. And so the next time we accidentally cut someone off,
Yes.
we
We've all done
realize,
it.
oh, but
Yes.
I didn't mean to. Well, maybe they didn't mean to either.
The eggs were spilling in the back.
Right.
or something.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you so very much, Sam, for stopping
You're
in
welcome.
and hanging out a little bit here with us. I just love Sam. Now, where can everybody help you?
So-
She is amazing. She has helped so many people and shifting in that world.
Yeah,
You're amazing.
And if you work there, you know the people who need that shift, right? We all need it.
Yeah.
But especially if you work with someone who's really unhappy and carries that unhappiness around with them, it impacts others.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
So where can I be found? www.growthcurveconsulting.com. That's growthcurveconsulting.com. And
Growth curve. I love
growth curve. Yep. We're all on a growth curve.
it. Yes.
Various things, various places on the curve,
Perfect.
but we're all there. We're all learning.
Perfect.
So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Sam. So go ahead, and Sam will be back with me another other time, and we'll be talking about more of the details about what she's talking about a little bit. But you can always find her.
Oh!
And watch out for those things.
Watch out.
Watch out for the Buddha. Oh my goodness.
Buddha.
Hi, Buddha.